tonight slammed by snow.
Our original forecast was only calling for up to 10, but that quickly changed.
The sudden storm that delivered a slippery, slow mess.
It quickly transitioned over to snow, and heavy snow at times, and I think that's what really caught people off guard.
A collection of closures and a scramble.
They're having to go through a second, in some cases a third time. It is a challenging environment for our crews
to keep up with it. What's being done about the region's water worries?
It's fair to say that we're not leaving any stone unturned on this one.
A reality check on the shortage concerns that have developers on alert. A tough time of year.
Our data at Homewood Health since 2022 has shown a consistent spike in the January month specifically for requesting services.
Messages and strategies aiming to make a difference with seasonal sadness. Stuck in the ditch along snow-covered, slippery roads, slowdowns along major highways all across the area, and the rush to clean it all up. From driveways to the streets, tonight the impact of the sudden snowstorm that hit Waterloo Region and many other parts of southern Ontario. And here's a live look at the roads in Kitchener. This is in the downtown area where you can see that there has been some snow clearing already. This is Duke Street, to be specific, in downtown Kitchener, but make no mistake, there are still some very slippery and snow-covered surfaces out there. Other roads still waiting to be plowed altogether. The snowfall warning, by the way, has been lifted now, but this cleanup is far from over. Good evening. The snow began falling last night, and by this morning, it was pretty obvious this storm was going to pack a much worse punch than first predicted. Warnings were upgraded, snow events were declared, schools were closed as around 30 centimeters of snow piled up in Waterloo Region. Let's go to CTV's Krista Simpson now, live in Kitchener for a roundup on the impact of this snowstorm and really the intensity that seemed to catch everybody by surprise, Krista.
Tony, even Environment Canada meteorologists were caught by surprise. They say the intensity of this storm wasn't quite clear until it actually started, the snow getting heavier as the hours went on. It's the sound of yet another snowfall, this one requiring more than one round of shoveling.
This is my third session. The first two were a little over an hour each.
Even those with snowblowers finding themselves a little overwhelmed.
It's been a wicked amount, over a foot easily all day, just everywhere.
Environment Canada says the amount of snow that fell is about triple of what was initially expected.
We've had unofficial reports of 25 to 30 centimeters of snow in the Kitchener area, which is quite significant. And our original forecast was only calling for up to 10.
That much snow falling in less than a 24-hour period led Environment Canada to upgrade to an orange warning on Thursday morning, given the anticipated impact.
It was definitely a tricky event, and the actual low pressure system itself is not on Canadian soil, it's stateside. So we're on the northern end of that low, and that's where we get the highest snowfall amounts. But really where that low sits, if it nudges a little bit further south or a little bit further north, it can make a huge impact in how much snow we receive.
On Highway 7A, a multi-vehicle collision led provincial police to close the eastbound lanes between Trussler and Fisher-Holman roads for part of the morning, leaving drivers at a standstill. Waterloo Regional Police say over a 24-hour period, they have responded to more than 100 crashes on the roads they patrol.
Majority of those collisions have been property damage only, and where no physical injuries have been reported.
Anyone who is driving urged to be patient and prepared.
We're just really encouraging motorists, if you have to be out on days like today with all the snow, really just allow enough travel time. Make sure your vehicle is in proper working order and the snow has been cleared off.
Well, the heavy snow tapered off by the afternoon. The cleanup will take some time.
The roads are still going to be quite treacherous at this point. There's likely going to be ice as well underneath that snow because of the fact that we did have milder temperatures in the last couple of days.
In Kitchener, crews began clearing the roads starting Wednesday evening and again since about 3 Thursday morning, beginning with major thoroughfares, then moving on to bus routes and connector streets.
Their focus has really been on the priority 1 and 2 roadways throughout the city. They have been plowed. However, because the snow has continued falling and ongoing precipitation, they're having to go through a second, in some cases a third time.
Residential roads the next focus, but residents are asked to be patient.
We've also declared a significant weather event, and that signals to the community that it may take us a little bit longer to get through the entire city and meet the service standards that we always work towards.
Everyone digging out and bracing to do it again, with some more snow expected to fall in the next few days.
No, not much.
So while the snow may not be falling from the sky at the moment, it does remain all over the ground. So a reminder, if you have to go out tonight or if you're driving, surfaces are slippery, so be cautious. Tony.
Absolutely, and we can hear the sound of those crews clearing up the parking lot around you right now as well, Krista. Thank you very much. Krista Simpson live in Kitchener. In front of a snowbank that, Ashley, we're going to see a lot more of over the next little while because, you know, as Krista was mentioning, the cleanup really just beginning. It's kind of a over and over and over situation as we deal with those surfaces.
That's right, Tony. The issue was the snow fell so quickly and so much of it. A lot wasn't expected. And part of that had to do with the fact that it got colder faster than expected, which meant someone should have been sleet in some areas, some rain converting to snow. It went to snow. So that meant that we had around 5 centimeters of snow falling per hour for a short window overnight last night. That's why we saw such a large amount when we all woke up this morning. Good news is, though, as we look at our satellite, there is not as much precipitation expected over the next few days. That big band that we saw, that's moved on to the east coast now. So we're not going to see as much. We will still see flurries over the next few days, but not a significant drop. -13 temperature still sitting though. So it's quite cold out there, feeling closer to -20 with the wind chill and winds at 24 kilometers an hour, Tony. So the winds and the cold are more of the next phase of this storm for the next few days.
Okay, Ashley, we'll get the rest of the story from you shortly. Thank you. You know, we often do see school buses canceled on snow days like this one. Today, though, in Waterloo Region and some other areas, the schools were closed altogether. So what made the difference? Let's bring in CTV's Colton Weens now for more on this. Colton, a lot of people might be wondering, you know, what's the deal? Why full closures in Waterloo Region?
Yeah, Tony, both the public and Catholic school boards acknowledge the challenge it causes families when schools are closed, but say with the combination of snowfall, poor road conditions, and the likelihood of delays in snow clearing throughout the day, closing schools was the safest option to protect students and staff. Both the Waterloo Region District School Board and Waterloo Catholic District School Board announcing this morning all bus, taxi, and special education routes were canceled and all schools closed. Extended day programs, child care centers, sports, and adult programs were also canceled. Students were told to access virtual lessons, work on previous assigned work, or review material. The Catholic School Board said in an email, Environment Canada upgraded its weather alert overnight, indicating that heavy snow would continue throughout the day. That raised concerns not just about the morning commute, but also about families and staff traveling to and from school, and about plows being able to keep up with the volume of snow. The board says spotters reported many unplowed roads in some divisions with icy conditions underneath the new snowfall due to yesterday's above-zero temperatures, followed by a rapid drop below freezing overnight. And they also noted that Grand River Transit adjusted bus routes, both local universities closed their campuses, and neighboring school boards also closed. Taken together, this signaled that conditions were not localized and could not be addressed simply by canceling yellow school bus service. The Catholic Board says it treats closing schools as a last resort. The last system-wide snow day was in February last year, but with the amount this morning and the expected issues clearing it, they felt it was safest to tell everyone to stay home. Tony.
Okay, Colton Weens with more on what was behind that decision. Colton, thank you. Snow and cold, of course, creating challenging driving conditions in many areas of the province today. Winter storms like this can make any drive, even short ones, unpredictable. But the biggest danger isn't the snow necessarily. It's often how drivers react when they lose control. CTV's Chris Campbell takes a closer look tonight at what drivers should do when things begin to go wrong.
A quick tip before you go in the car is make sure that the lights are clear.
When winter weather hits, it doesn't take much for a routine drive to turn unpredictable.
Increase the following distance and slow down. That's the bottom line for winter driving.
But even cautious drivers can run into trouble when traction disappears.
Winter tires will help a lot, definitely. Studies have shown that winter tires would reduce your stopping distance by a third.
Jacob Amoud at the iDrive driving school in Windsor says panic is one of the biggest mistakes drivers make, especially when braking.
You actually want to release the brakes and reapply a technique called pumping the brakes.
You need to pack your patience when you're inside the vehicle, give people around you plenty of room and plenty of space as they try to navigate these difficult conditions.
According to CAA, patience and preparation are two of the most important tools drivers have during winter storms.
Emergency happens when we least expect it. So an emergency kit will help you to deal with things that you're not expecting.
Pack blankets, extra clothes, and don't forget a shovel or booster cables.
It's better to have them with you, either to help yourself or to help someone else that's in your situation.
Ontario Provincial Police echo that, saying many winter emergencies could be avoided with preparation, even for short trips.
If you don't have to drive, then don't. If you can postpone your travel plans, then do so. There is no need for anyone to go out and find themselves stuck on a major highway for hours on end.
Police say once a vehicle loses control, things can escalate quickly.
So abrupt acceleration will lead to fishtailing at the back.
Pumping the brakes when you start to slide is key, and if the back of your car starts to fishtail, steer in the direction you want the front of the vehicle to go.
So just ease off the gas and steer where you want to go, look where you want to go. Keep your distance, slow down, and look as far as possible ahead.
And that report from CTV's Chris Campbell. Well, January is a time to mark new beginnings, but it's also a time of year where many people struggle with sadness. CTV's Karis Map now on how some mental health service providers and others are hoping to make a positive difference.
It's a time of year when we often hear the term winter blues, but the struggles are very real.
Our data at Homewood Health since 2022 has shown a consistent spike in the January month, specifically for requesting services.
Mental health service provider Homewood Health in Guelph says January often brings about feelings of sadness and isolation.
Shorter daylight time, the colder weather. We're also a bit more cramped in our house, less opportunities to go outside.
This year, they've launched a series of YouTube videos.
The good news is that awareness gives us a choice.
Focused on winter well-being to drive home some messages.
Really focus on the reflective effort that we can take during the winter season to slow down during these colder months.
And reducing the stigma about asking for help.
If you break your foot, you have to go consult and see what they can do to help you. Unfortunately, we still are not there. I think there's still a lot of stigmatization when it comes to seeking support.
One solution, carving out so-called micro moments for yourself.
A quick walk, just a warm cup of tea, silence for 5 minutes.
Or even a sweet treat, something that's the focus of a fundraiser for mental health services at a downtown Kitchener ice cream shop, where a portion of sales right now are going to the Canadian Mental Health Association of Waterloo Wellington.
Just the act of getting ice cream hopefully will brighten your day, but it goes one step further by actually contributing to supporting mental health services in the community.
The City of Cambridge is aiming to raise spirits with its first ever Cabin Fever initiative on Monday.
To support our community members and enhance their wellness and their community spirit and really discover something new in their own backyard.
With discounts at certain locations until the end of March.
From retail to cafes to experiences, that type of thing.
Efforts to make a big difference during what can be a tough time of year.
We always feel like people have it better than us, that people are not struggling as much as we do, and it's simply not the case.
Karis Map, CTV News, Kitchener.
Okay, let's go back live outside now and take a look at what's happening on the roads. This is a live look that we're bringing you right now, and this is along Rogers Street in Kitchener. And this kind of tells you the story that we're seeing as far as the storm cleanup goes. The side streets have been plowed, but are probably going to be plowed again, and some of those surfaces still very slippery out there. Snow events declared in Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and Wilmot. Cleanup efforts expected to continue overnight, and we'll bring you more live looks throughout the newscast. Coming up, from missing a show to Hollywood hellos. CTV's Spencer Turcotte tells us why the stars of the new Star Trek series gave a Guelph man some personal shout-outs that he will not soon forget.
I'm Jeff Pickle. The region of Waterloo says it's leaving no stone left unturned when it comes to the water issue, but they say it may take some time before they have a plan to actually fix it. That story is just ahead.
Well, even though cleanup continues from today's storm, more snow is on the way. Snow lovers can rejoice. I'll have those details coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
The region of Waterloo says they're looking at every option when it comes to solving the water capacity crisis. But they say at this point it's too early to say if or when a hold on development will no longer be needed. CTV's Jeff Pickle joining us now with new reporting on this. And Jeff, in your latest reporting, we were focusing on the impact on housing developments, but really a lot of others impacted too.
Well, Tony, this put the entire local economy on unstable ground when it comes to manufacturers looking to invest or developers to build, and not to mention all the labor and skilled trade that goes into construction and the economic impact there. So fair to say this issue is critical for many people. In the midst of a housing crisis, the region of Waterloo forced to put a pause on recommendations of new development applications.
We are providing the comment that due to the capacity constraints in the Mannheim system, we are not supporting development applications moving forward.
The region saying the pumping station and wells that supply Kitchener, Waterloo, parts of Cambridge and the townships are nearing the end of capacity and cannot handle further growth. But according to the region, that does not mean all building will immediately stop.
Right now, we have about 6,000 units with active building permits in construction. So all that work is proceeding.
Those who build homes in the region are deeply concerned.
Pain has already been created by the creation of uncertainty, by putting a freeze just even on the planning process.
Developers say in order to attract investment and continue to build homes, they need to provide the banks some clarity.
The development community needs consistent, clear information. We need a line in the sand.
While some of the big solutions will take time, developers are hopeful there can be some small wins so they can keep building.
It's fair to say that we're not leaving any stone unturned on this one. We'll look at small contributions to the water supply as well as large non-incremental solutions. Recognizing sometimes that the smaller ones are a little easier to bring on quickly than the big ones.
The region says the province will play a big hand in funding and increasing the water supply as quickly as possible.
We've had some really positive preliminary conversations with the province about doing exactly that. They are keenly interested in helping us get some of this infrastructure in place as quickly as possible.
By the end of the month, the region says they hope to have a list of all options on the table to increase the water supply quickly. And when it comes to big projects like the LRT to Cambridge and the Wilmot Land Assembly, the region says those are long-term projects and they don't anticipate being impacted by the current situation. So the plan is to continue to push ahead with those plans. Tony?
Okay, Jeff, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle reporting. Next, reaction to the sudden departure of the president of Conestoga College, John Tibbetts, announcing yesterday he'd be retiring immediately, several weeks sooner than he'd planned. That news followed a tumultuous year of cuts and criticism from employees' unions over his leadership and salary. CTV's Colton Weens has the latest.
Definitely wasn't on my bingo card for 2026.
The Ontario Public Service Employees Union Locals 237 and 238, which represent faculty and support staff at Conestoga College, surprised with news of the school's president, John Tibbetts, stepping down immediately.
We've requested to sit down and have a good, fulsome, open, transparent conversation about the decisions that have been recently made. with the hope to look for maybe some reconsideration changes, as well as looking to the future with the selection process for looking at a new president, that the locals be included.
In an email sent to all the school students and employees on behalf of the college president, Tibbetts says in part, "I informed the Board of Governors that I am retiring as president of Conestoga effective today. I am incredibly proud of how Conestoga has grown, adapted, and remained nimble in meeting those needs while never losing sight of the student experience." Tibbetts says he planned to retire 2 years ago, but deferred it a few times to support continuity during a period of significant change, adding as he gets older and following the recent passing of his brother and his partner 4 years ago, he feels it's time to spend more time with family. As for the college, the email says Norma MacDonald Ewing will serve as interim president while the board searches for the next leader.
I will be optimistic until I cannot be optimistic. We have both worked with Norma over the years when she was faculty. So again, I mean, I know a Norma, and I do hope that on a professional level that we'll be able to proceed forward.
The ship is headed towards the rocks. The captain abandoned ship. The new captain's on board. We want to work with that captain to redirect the course of the ship.
Union leaders say they haven't had much of a relationship with Tibbetts, something they hope changes with a new president.
It's been since about 2016, 2017, and there's been a handful of times that we have met. There is no collaboration as I see in other college leadership.
We hope for, and we will expect it. And if we don't, then we'll have to take further action.
Tibbetts faced criticism as hundreds of college employees were laid off in 2024 after he was named as the region's highest paid public sector worker. Then in December, 181 full-time faculty and 197 support staff were laid off, which came as another surprise to the unions just before the holidays. Since then, Local 237 has filed 124 grievances, and Local 238 has 20 to 30 grievances in the works.
What they're doing is basically they're stating that the college cannot currently afford the level of full-time staff and faculty that we currently have. So they've reduced it down to part-time, lower pay, lower benefits, cost model.
The college declined an interview request. However, the chair of the Board of Governors, Martha George, wrote an email to students and employees extending best wishes to Tibbetts, adding the board is confident in the school's future. The unions also want management to share more information with them around their decisions to better help guide the college, and they want to know how much Tibbetts' retirement will cost and whether the next president will be earning an over $600,000 salary like Tibbetts did. Colton Weens, CTV News, Kitchener.
Okay, we're heading back out live to the streets right now. This time we are in the city of Waterloo. Our photographer Dave Pettit is out right now, and this is the dash cam from his vehicle showing you that, yep, there is more work to be done when it comes to clearing streets after that big snowstorm, almost 30 centimeters according to Environment Canada. And the cities have been telling us it's going to take another round or two of plowing before they can get to everything. Some work expected to pick up again overnight tonight. And Ashley's back in a few moments with a look at the forecast. Also coming up. Grok under scrutiny. What has Canada's Privacy Commissioner expanding its investigation into the AI chatbot? And next, Canada and China sign some deals. The agreements announced today by the Prime Minister in Beijing. And I just want to mention quickly once again, in case you missed it last night, in Alex Pinto's absence on her parental leave, Ashley will be joining us every night with the forecast. We are thrilled, and we have been hearing from viewers who are as well.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. I mean, it's a fun new opportunity.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
Great to have you here on the desk with us. And boy, what a week
I know, what a start.
Kind of make this official because you've had a lot to keep track of.
We do.
Snowstorm that even the meteorologists said was more than expected.
That's right. We were expecting 10 to 20 centimeters. We ended up closer to 30 to 40 in some spots.
A couple of degrees made a difference.
And that's what made the difference, is the temperature dropped quicker than expected, which meant heavier snowfall faster. And it sort of lingered over our region, and as we all woke up to,
and then we got
a surprise.
And then we got a beautiful sunset at the end of the day. Wow, this has been
And thank
quite
you
a day.
everyone sending photos in of that sunset. We've been getting them and loving them, and I will keep track of them. They were beautiful. Keep handing them in. Let's look back outside. This is Union, along Union tonight. Dave Pettit doing a round trip around the region, giving us an inside look of what those roads are still looking like. As we've talked about all show, the roads are still obviously a little bit rough. The crews are busy out there getting them done, but it's going to take time. We had a lot of snow, and it's still falling on and off. This is the band of precipitation that caused all that trouble. It's moved on to the east coast of Canada now. We are going to see potential for flurries over the next few hours, but essentially cloudy conditions overnight tonight before we get a few flurries around the noon hour tomorrow. Now, it's not going to be a significant amount of snow, but we are still going to see a little bit of accumulation. In total, by Saturday evening, we're looking at another 10 centimeters. So not as much as we've had, but of course, to add on to what we've already had, it's kind of a lot. Looking at our temperatures right now across the country. Let's start on the west coast in Vancouver. It's 8 degrees, 1 in Edmonton, 2 in Calgary, 0 in Winnipeg. Much cooler on the east coast of the country today. -6 in St. John's, -11 in Montreal, -11 in Thunder Bay. Similar conditions here, -13 in Kitchener, Waterloo, but feeling a lot colder with the wind chill. -21 this hour with the wind chill. So if you have to be out and about, do dress appropriately. It is a cold one out there. Overnight conditions aren't going to improve much. The low is expected around -12, -22 feeling closer to it with the wind chill. And of course, around a 40% chance for flurries. Tomorrow, periods of snow around the noon hour. You might see those flurries pick up a bit, but the good news is it's not going to be as cold. -4 is an expected high tomorrow. So much closer to our usual for this time of year. Let's look at our 7-day forecast starting in Waterloo Region. I want to point out that by Saturday, temperatures bounce back to -2, feeling much warmer than what we've experienced in the last 24 hours or so. Flurries continuing through your weekend and into your work week. Overnight temperatures, I also want to point out, getting colder and colder. We are in the thralls of winter now. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions there. Periods of snow expected for your Friday, a high of -1, -2 for Saturday, but those overnight lows again taking a drop by Saturday overnight and will continue to be quite chilly through to your work week. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, you're also going to experience some snow on your Friday, a high of -3 for also Saturday. Flurries continuing on Sunday, a high of -7, by Monday, -9. So Tony, lots of snow still to be had. And like I said earlier, if you're a snow lover, you can rejoice. This is your season. Let's take a look at our Weather Watcher photo from today. This was sent in from Bruce in Guelph, this little guy trying to navigate the backyard after last night's big snowfall. Man, I feel for all the creatures and critters out there, because it might have been a rough morning trying to find breakfast.
Oh boy, but they are determined. That's for sure.
Very cute.
Your national map of the temperatures made me think of something funny, too, because earlier in the day, our national assignment desk sent out an email to all the stations, as they often do, saying, what do you got weather-wise? What kind of elements do you have? The producer in, I think it was either Vancouver or Victoria, weighed in and said, yeah, it's sunny and 11 degrees here today. So,
well, I hope you enjoy it.
A little perspective on winter in Canada.
Absolutely. From coast to coast, it really ranges.
It's wild. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to go to Beijing, the first day of talks as Canada and China sign trade and economic cooperation agreements to boost exports. Still no breakthrough, though, on reducing tariffs on canola and seafood. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has details.
A grand ceremony full of pageantry in China's House of Political Power, marking the restart of a Canada-China relationship that has been largely non-existent for years.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order. It's a partnership with new focus and greater depth and a sense of purpose.
Prime Minister Mark Carney receiving a warm welcome from various Chinese leaders Thursday, who said bilateral relations have hit a turning point.
China is prepared to work with Canada to follow through on the important consensus between our leaders and move forward our strategic partnership on a trajectory of healthy, steady, and sustainable development.
Agreements signed today pledge greater dialogue in areas including forestry, tourism, culture, and food safety. On energy, the pact recognizes Canada as an important potential partner in oil and gas.
What we heard loud and clear is China is looking for reliable trading partners that don't use energy for coercion.
So far, there has been no agreement publicly about tariffs, but Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, who has been outspoken about the need to remove canola tariffs, was invited to sit in on a meeting with Premier Li. Tomorrow, Prime Minister Mark Carney will meet with Xi Jinping. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Beijing, China.
Coming up, sizing up the predictions about a real estate rebound. What's expected to drive a bounce back from an end-of-year slump? That's next. So this is kind of a good news, bad news story. Although U.S. tariffs are largely behind a decline in national home sales last year, the real estate market is expected to rebound this year with demand from first-time buyers. CTV's Abigail Beeman on what we can expect in 2026.
My father talked about his first house that he bought was $80,000, which is now my down payment.
John Gilmer is like so many millennials struggling to buy a first home.
Feels almost like spinning tires.
Even with a household income above $200,000 a year.
The target keeps getting raised as fast as our savings.
Water building up behind a dam.
The Canadian Real Estate Association cites pent-up demand from first-time buyers like Gilmer as a key driver for its new projection of some growth in sales and prices after sales fell in 2025, saying interest rates have come down enough to make a difference. After a 1.9% drop, CREA projects national home sales will climb 5.1% in 2026 and 3.5% in 2027. House prices predicted to climb slightly too, to a national average just under $700,000 this year and $715,000 next year.
People in their 30s who are saying, I need something big enough to start a family in, it doesn't exist. Or it exists in the legacy detached space, which is very expensive.
The so-called missing middle of affordable options.
People aren't necessarily interested in like a condominium townhouse or a condo itself, and they're having trouble getting into like a freehold.
CREA says over the last 2 decades, there's been a switch from building low-density detached housing to building mostly apartments. John Gilmer is hopeful 2026 will be his year to enter the market, thanks to savings, lower interest rates, and financial help from his parents.
$2,700 a month that I'm paying in rent could be used in much better manner where I'm building equity.
The Prime Minister has committed to doubling the rate of home construction. CREA says it has a sense of optimism about the federal Build Canada Homes Agency, but for the medium to long term, while the problem of affordable housing remains pressing today. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Okay, recapping our top stories with CTV's Alexandra Hollick live in studio. Alexandra, we're looking at all angles on that unexpected winter wallop that really slammed the region.
Absolutely, and most of southwestern Ontario as well, Tony. Around 30 centimeters of snow piled up here in the region, triple the amount predicted by Environment Canada. The storm prompted closures in schools, road closures, collisions, and upgraded weather warnings. And while the bulk of the snowfall is over, the cleanup is really only beginning. The region of Waterloo says it's looking at every option when it comes to solving the water capacity crisis, but officials say it's still too soon to say when that will happen or what that will look like. At this point, any new development applications have been put on hold until the region gets a clearer picture, but that's thrown developers, manufacturers, and investors into limbo.
Okay, and Alexandra, a lot of stories as well over on our website that our digital team's working on. One of them has to do with a request for a cigarette lighter that sparked a physical reaction.
That's right, Tony. Guelph police say a 38-year-old woman slapped two people who told her they didn't have a cigarette lighter. Police got a call from a business Wednesday morning. Staff say a woman had been screaming at employees and customers. Police say the woman then left the business, and that's when things got physical. She was arrested and charged. For more information on this story, you can check it out on our CTV News app or visit our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
Okay, Alexandra Hollick with the latest. Thank you, Alexandra. Canada's Privacy Commissioner is expanding his investigation into X after global backlash over Grok, the platform's chatbot. It's being used to generate explicit images of real people without their consent. CTV's Rachel Aiello looks into AI privacy concerns and what it means for Canadians.
The Privacy Commissioner is looking into whether billionaire Elon Musk's site X and xAI, the artificial intelligence company responsible for the platform's Grok chatbot, are violating federal law. Canada's top privacy watchdog is expanding an ongoing investigation into X and the social media site's use of Canadians' personal information to train AI models. In light of growing global concern over the platform's AI chatbot Grok being prompted by users to produce non-consensual, explicit, or sexualized images of real people. The commissioner said he decided to expand his investigation to address this issue, given its importance and the potential serious harms that it may cause to Canadians.
Privacy legislation as it is currently on the books will not protect you if someone grabs your imagery online, runs it through an image generator like Grok, sexualizes it, and then shares it with their followers.
Elon Musk companies were informed about the widening probe into whether X and xAI obtained consent to use Canadians' data to create deepfakes yesterday. The same day, xAI announced it would limit Grok's ability to generate explicit images. The federal minister of AI says while Canada isn't considering banning X, there's a government bill before Parliament proposing to amend the criminal code to crack down on deepfakes. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Later on CTV News, he missed a big series premiere, but instead got a shout out from the stars. The unexpected greetings for a Guelph man from the red carpet at the new Star Trek Toronto premiere. In the first two parts of our series on medical tourism, we've heard warnings from both the patient and doctors about what can go wrong with travel abroad for medical procedures. But who's financially responsible in those cases? CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan looks at how insurance and legal liability may not protect patients as much as you might think.
When Nicole Grigorov set out for her mummy makeover in Costa Rica last fall, she thought she had insurance. But when she developed sepsis and nearly died, she found out she wasn't covered.
Actually, I have two forms of insurance, which I thought were suffice. I have the travel medical insurance, and I also have insurance on one of my credit cards. And one of them is critical illness and disability, so I'm arguing with them right now.
I get calls from time to time from people asking that exact question, and I explain to them absolutely not. And other scenarios too, like heart or cancer or anything out of the country that you are going to, knowingly that there will be a surgery or a treatment, is absolutely not covered by an insurance company.
The Ontario Health Ministry says some forms of cosmetic surgery are actually covered by OHIP, saying OHIP would provide payment for out-of-country cosmetic procedures should they meet specific requirements as outlined in Regulation 522 of the Health Insurance Act, adding, under which surgery for alteration of appearance may be a benefit. Some examples include repair for trauma scars, removal of large benign lesions, post-mastectomy breast reconstruction, etc. but not the kind of cosmetic surgery Nicole had. Patient M recently went to Turkey for several procedures, including dental work, hair transplant, and a tummy tuck, knowing insurance would not cover any mishaps. On his flight back, he developed fluid buildup in his abdomen. It took 3 procedures over 2 weeks to clear it. But despite the complications, he's happy, saying, "The estimated cost savings compared to having the same procedures done in Canada were significant, likely close to $60,000 to $75,000 for all the procedures." Both M and Nicole say mishaps do happen, even in Canada. Nicole looked into suing the Costa Rican clinic, but was told the time and expense for an overseas case would not be worth it. The clinic promised a refund of the $20,000 she spent on the surgery, but she has yet to see a cent. The loss of her fingers and toes would make running her resort business up north too difficult, so she's planning to sell it. And her family has set up a GoFundMe to help with expenses in the meantime.
I try to do some of my makeup and my hair with my niece, but I'm trying to do things for myself, but it's going to definitely be a forever process.
Grigorov says looking back at her ordeal, the cosmetic surgery seemed so unnecessary now, but she wants to tell her story to make sure others are informed.
Any surgery is a risk, and I really didn't have to have a mummy makeover, and I know that. I just wanted to look better and feel better about myself.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.
And let's check in once again with Ashley.
Well, a few more centimeters of snow is on the way, but good news is it's not as much as we've had over the last 24 hours. They'll have those details coming up. Spend your night snowed in watching E-Talk at 7, followed by George and Mandy's First Marriage at 7:30, Hell's Kitchen at 8, 911 Nashville at 9, and round off the night with Grey's Anatomy at 10.
All right, we're going to check in with Alexandra Hollick, who will be at this desk at 11:30 with your next local news. Alexandra.
Tony, now that the storm has passed, the cleanup is really expected to get underway. The city of Kitchener says plows are taking a break before starting up again overnight. In the meantime, we can expect people to be out shoveling and clearing what they can. The roads are getting better, but travelers are still urged to be cautious. CTV's Colton Weens will round things up for us, and we'll have more local news tonight at 11:30. Tony.
Alexandra, thank you. And of course, probably worth a reminder, do not leave your car on the street because it could get towed tonight.
Yes, definitely park somewhere that is safe and out of the way for the tow crews, or not the tow crews, rather, the snow crews, as they continue the big cleanup. And the good news is, Tony, it's kind of stopped for the moment.
Bit of a calm right now.
There's a little bit of a break for everyone. Hopefully they're getting some rest. If we have a look at what we're expecting overnight, we're going to wake up to cloudy but cold conditions, wind chill feeling closer to -19. A little bit, even a sunny potential sun break first thing in the morning before scattered flurries enter the picture back in around 10 a.m. So
all right,
we're not out of the woods completely.
Not quite yet. And those temperatures, man, it is cold out there.
It's very cold, yes.
But let's warm things up now. Spencer's got a great story for us. A Guelph man won tickets to an exclusive screening of that new Star Trek series, Starfleet Academy, in Toronto last night. Problem is he needed an accessible ride to get there, and the service he needs was all booked up.
As CTV's Spencer Turcott tells us, that means he couldn't go, but the stars of the series found a way to make it up to him.
And my favorite quote from Star Trek Voyager:
"You'd be hard-pressed to find a bigger Star Trek fan than Guelph's Mike Ashkowi.
Always wanted to get one of these."
He's a credited author for the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game.
There I am, first name, first credit. I write little pieces of fiction that expand the universe of Star Trek.
So it's only fitting that when Paramount Plus Canada ran a contest for tickets to an exclusive screening of the new series, Star Trek Starfleet Academy, he entered and he won.
So I told them, okay, cool, I accept. I have to book a wheelchair taxi.
Ashkowi called Red Top Taxi in Guelph, but on such short notice, he was out of luck.
They couldn't accommodate me, not because of any malice or anything, just it was too busy that time. They were so apologetic when they told them why I was going to Toronto.
Red Top Taxi's president said the situation highlights the importance of accessible transportation and the need to expand those services in Guelph, saying in part, Red Top currently operates 6 wheelchair-accessible vans serving the entire city, including hospitals, long-term care, and retirement homes, as well as out-of-town trips. Due to the limited number of vehicles and consistently high demand, availability can be constrained, particularly during peak hours. An unfortunate case of déjà vu for Ashkowee, who ran into another accessibility roadblock in 2024 when he won tickets to a WWE event in Toronto.
If I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd only have 2 nickels, but weird that it's happened twice.
In an email to CTV News, Paramount Plus Canada said they were disappointed Ashkowee could not attend the event, but said they would find another opportunity for him to celebrate the premiere. And indeed, they did.
Michael! So sorry you couldn't be here. We're so sorry you couldn't make it, buddy. So much. We love you.
Stars from the series took time out of the red carpet to film personalized video messages for Ashkowee, including his favorite actor, Robert Picardo.
Michael, it's Robert Picardo here, your doctor from Star Trek Voyager and your doctor from Starfleet Academy. So sorry you were not able to get here tonight.
Heartbreak turned to happiness for Ashkowee, who thanks the cast for turning an inaccessible situation into an accessible one, encapsulating a core philosophy of the Star Trek franchise: infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Guelph.
Incredible.
What a great story, Spencer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and you know, could it have ended any better than that, really, after a moment that was probably, you know, sad and disappointing?
Absolutely. And what a, you know, it puts a perspective on obviously a need in the community, but what a great way to do it.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, well, that's our time tonight. We're going to leave you with another live look outside. Dave Pettit has been bringing us live views. We are along King Street in downtown Kitchener right now. You can see that snow is piling up. Ashley, the banks are, but of course those crews are going to be out overnight.
Yes.
Once again, getting more of that cleanup done.
Yep. Like we said earlier, make sure you don't park on the street overnight because you might get towed.
And it is a cold one out there, so stay warm. Alexandra Hollick is here with your next local news at 11:30. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a good night.